No, I did not know that. I'm like,
you know what's funny?
All right,
There we go. So we'll just work them over here one at a
There
time.
you go, man.
What's up, brother? How you
want.
doing? Good. I'll be with you in just a sec. We're going to start a podcast real quick. What's that? There, oh, cool. Right on, man. Okay, let's get in here. Oops.
I don't smell that bad. Oh,
No, you know what? You really don't.
I actually took a shower.
You smell wonderful.
I love you.
oh, we got 5. Hey guys, don't worry, brother. The key with the mic is to get up on them pretty good and talk nice and
Strong?
Yeah.
That's good.
That's easy for you.
I have no problem talking loud.
Loud.
Is good, right? You need to kind of
Heavy breathing.
Okay.
so don't look at Renny. Just have to-
Or if you're going to, if you're a
Don't
mover
look
like
at
I am, I just hold it. I
Yeah,
learned that, yeah, because I'm constantly looking at you guys.
right.
So
Instead of having to.
yeah, instead of taking in, I just grab it. That way I can move with me. I'm doing this and that. So if you see that you're moving your head a lot.
Clint, hi.
Hello. So what we're going to do, everybody got copy? You guys got good audio?
Yep.
Can you hear me in the?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, cool. So we'll run through. We got 3 minutes. We got 3:20. So I'm going to run through all the questions real quick. We're going to have each one of you, we'll start ladies first, introduce ourselves right there. Then I'm going to go into a small thing that has been a trap of the mind for myself for most of my young years. And I'm just going to talk about how I trap myself into just not really, I always thought I could, I just didn't believe I deserved it. So we're going to lead into that and kind of, if you guys got input on that, it'd be great. I'm going to share a story about Mark Johnson that's here. I'm going to share a story about Joe Clark and just what they did for big thinking. Then you have a unique view. I'm going to ask each one of you guys have a really unique view into small business. What do you see when it comes to people getting out of their own way? It's okay. I like that look.
I love that.
Yeah. And then when big thinking could go bad, unprepared, underfunded, overgrown, they grew too fast. Those are just examples. I'm not going to answer that, but those are just, some people in this industry just happen to rush to it. Is my point. You guys answer it how you see fit. Financial small thinking. We work hard, but retailers have not yet learned to make their money work for them. So I'd like to talk, if you've got other side hustles, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to talk about my real estate. What we've done with real estate, investing, so forth. And then we're going to talk about getting ready for something big. Is that always prepare yourself just to be the best you can. Don't try to pre-plan yourself into fame. Just make yourself very successful and make it about people. And you guys add into that, okay? And then where do you see small business hurting themselves right now? Small thinking. You all have such a unique view to these businesses and what they're things that if they just tweak some things, basically. And this is only a guide. We're going to have fun. We can go, if you want to take us down the rabbit hole, let's go down the rabbit hole. At about 45 minutes, I'll start. We're going to try to end it at about 45 minutes in. Just so we found that's kind of the sweet spot on the podcast. So we're 54 seconds out. I'll do the intro and then we're going to go right into it. We're going to have some fun.
Sounds good.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
Chris, are we going out speaker wise or are we good to go?
Working better right now.
Is it good? Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll 41 seconds.
You're all good.
Hey, thanks you guys for coming in too. This is
problem.
cool. What a great lineup up here. I mean, you look at the diversity and all the things the different angles that you guys come from, and female, halfway between.
Questionable.
Yeah, questionable.
I haven't made my last payment, so I'm not quite.
There you go. Right? Not quite there. Me neither.
Don't make it.
Me neither. All right, 15 seconds. Here we go. So I'll do the intro and we'll just go into it and we'll just have fun, man. Have fun. 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the Renny Doyle podcast. We're here at the Mobile Tech Expo 2022. We've had a hiatus. It's been a couple years, and man, is it good to be back. This is fantastic. So I got a pretty incredible panel of professionals up here, people that I call friends. Everybody up here is pretty cool. The last panel, again, some of my dearest friends going all the way back to '04 at this show. And so it's really good to have everybody up here. So we're going to take a little time. Meghan, we'll start down. Ladies first. We'll have you introduce yourself and come down through the panel.
Perfect. Well, thank you for having me. I am Meghan Poirier and Chief Operations Officer with AutoGeek.
There you go.
I'm Markus Parsley. I'm the Vice President of IGL Coatings USA.
There you go.
I'm Jody Sedrick, CEO of Zenware RotaFest.
I love it. And then down there on the end.
This is Clint Hintz. I'm the North American Sales Manager for Buff and Shine Manufacturing.
Well, you got a smooth voice down there.
Thank you.
Wasn't he? It's like, damn, man, he sounds good. Now, I got a little quiz. Does anybody know why IGL's colors are green?
It's all about the money.
No, it's because one of their most faithful here is a Marine, and they eat green crayons.
I knew that was coming.
They
knew that was coming. I 100% knew that was coming.
They eat green crayons. You got it crayons in there. So are your favorites the thinner ones or the fatter ones?
I like the thin ones, and they're not actually green. They're lime.
They're lime.
Lime.
Yes. I like that. So what we're going to jump into is that I'm going to own something before we get going. Is I kind of was raised with a pretty weak self-confidence. Is that I never thought bad of myself, but I never totally believed in myself. And I always believed that I could do great things, but I always believed I didn't deserve them. And it was really a personal sabotage. And I've even in my 50s, I still have had to really kind of be careful with that line of thinking and making sure that I understand that it's okay to go out and succeed. And I do deserve those things because I've worked hard for them. So this is really the motivation for doing this today. And each one of you are picked for a very specific reason, is because I know each one of us have got a unique viewpoint in our own personal and professional struggles. And so we're going to talk this off by, I'm going to give you two examples, one from in the detailing industry and one from out. Mark Johnson's here right now. When I met Mark back in 2002, 2004, we'd actually met online and been part of a forum for many, many years. Mark's a detailer. He started out in a fixed shop. He did a lot of airplanes. Mark now takes and owns a very successful full-service car wash, a very big one, a very successful one. And it's not his first car wash, it's his second. And so Mark was a real inspiration to me because he never thought small. He was very aware of what he could achieve. And it was enlightening for me to have that. Another gentleman, Joe Clark. Now, Joe Clark is a nothing to most people. They don't know what his name means. For me, he's the person that got me Air Force One. But more importantly, if we all most of us flew in today, some of us drove, is when you fly, the ends of the wings turn upwards. Those are called winglets. Joe started out as a young pilot. He loved aviation, but he's also the creator and inventor of winglets. And he thought big. He got out of his own way. He started flying small single-engine airplanes. And over the time, he changed aviation history with his idea. And so these men on one blue collar, one kind of blue collar. And the people they changed the way many of us think. And so I want all you folks to partake in this. Now, each one of you has got a very unique view to the industry. Your perspective is Meghan, you've got 100,000 foot view. You're pretty, with AutoGeek being the power it is and how long it's been around, me being a huge fan for 20 years, you guys are a champion of the industry and the people in the industry. You're constantly moving people ahead. But with that big view is that I love to see this. And so I'm really interested in seeing how each one of you will answer to this, because all of us are at different elevations in the industry, one not being above the other, but just different exposure to each one of these. So let's jump off into this. What do you see when it comes to people in the industry and small businesses in general? Is a lot of times we get in our, Bob Phillips has coined it, just get out of our own way. And so what do you see at stumbling blocks? Meghan, we're going to start with you. Do you see people just sometimes just limit themselves just by their own doings?
I would say it's people don't dream enough sometimes, or they're too comfortable. Comfortable is good if you want to stay where you're at, but sometimes you got to take a gamble or dream. And I think some people just don't take that step. Maybe it's the safety or the security of where they're at, but we're not going anywhere if we don't take that first step. So I think that's a big thing for some people.
That's huge. I like that, and I'd say the same thing. Is we all get in our comfort zones, right?
Absolutely.
And so, Markus, coming out of the military, and a kid you all respect for your service to our country.
Thank you.
But coming into an industry after a military career,
Right.
You got a different perspective. So let's talk about that a little bit.
I do. And to expound on what Meghan said, I think a lot of what we face in what's in this building today, you have folks that either don't dream or they dream really hard. They put those dreams down and don't realize where they're at. They need a mentor or a coach or somebody to place them appropriately, match them with their skill set, identify their skill set, their financial ability, and make their dream and the actual practicality, the logistics of it come together.
Solid.
One thing that I learned coming in, actually got drug into this. Somebody, my best mentor and friend, identified me and pulled me out and said, hey, we need you in our company for your ability to look past or with the dream, identify the guy or gal's dream, place him correctly where he should be so that he doesn't spin out, flame out.
I like that.
It keeps him on a level track.
I like that.
And you have to do that emotionally detached. And we are very emotional people, so that's very hard to do. So he and I do that together with our installer base. We work with those that are wanting to grow and help guide them in the right direction. They don't always follow that. Some of them break out. You have your breakout guys, but for the most part, what happened to Joe Smith? Oh, well,
so true.
He still got his dream, but he got scared because, like you said, he didn't believe it. He didn't believe it in his heart. Didn't have the logistics in place, the training, the finances, the stability, the history, anything he needed to go forward, and he ended up stumbling and on his face.
I sold my first detailing company, and I wanted to get out of where I lived. It's a cool little town, but it's a rough little town. I couldn't wait to get out. But yet, when I sold my company, guess where I bought a house? Right back into where I'm from. And the reason why I was scared is that's what I knew, and I didn't think I deserved to live in a different zip code.
Yep.
And so I stalled myself. And I often think back, I think I was put in this position for a good reason. Is because there's other people that, like you said, some of them are just scared to death to go ahead, and they can't pull the next trigger or go to the next level because they're scared.
Right.
And sometimes you don't even admit it. I didn't think I was scared, but in the long run, when I look back, that's exactly what it was. I was nervous. I was apprehensive of going to that next level because I didn't know how I would perform or if I deserved it or if I could. I knew I could do it, but could I maintain it?
Remember football coaches telling folks that, or people from the sidelines saying that team plays extremely well. They have all the talent in the world, but they don't know how to win. They don't know how to close the deal. Or they won, now what do? They don't know what to do with the success.
That's it.
And roll back and fall back.
That's it. And it's so many reasons why professional athletes, they come out of tough backgrounds and they go broke. Is, they don't have the right. They've got all the coaches on the field, all the talent in the field. But unfortunately, when they get off the field, that's where the coaching stops. They don't look for the mentors and coaches, as you said. So,
right.
So Jody, you've got an interesting perspective. I love your podcast and your book and everything else you're doing. So, add something to that, would you?
I think a lot of the challenges, especially new entrepreneurs' experiences, they have a dream, but their expectations of what it's going to take doesn't meet the reality of being an entrepreneur. And people have to realize, and I often remind myself that seeds burst from the inside out in a very destructive ritual of new life, right? And so when you're going on this journey, you're going to have to become more. And the reality is you're going to face some really dark times. They're going to test your resolve. They're going to test the metal that you have in your heart, but they're also going to test your commitment to get it done, right? And a lot of times we shrink, we recoil from that experience because it gets tough. And the valley is what is preparing you for the mountain that you're about to climb.
Amen. Amen. And those valleys, if you're doing it right, what I've learned is bring up your start point. You know, get educated. You know, those things we talk about a lot. And I know a lot of people come back and they go, I mean, you're really going to talk education? Education's everything. Is that none of us have gotten where we're at by not getting educated and getting some scabs on us. We just want you all, everybody up here doesn't want you to get cut up. We don't want you to get. So Clint down the end.
Yeah, you know, you said something about education, and I think that education is so important. And when I started in the business, there wasn't a lot of education available. But I think kind of going back to piggyback off what Jody said, you know, it's great to have dreams. We want to have dreams, but I think that those dreams do need to be realistic. And I do talk to a lot of guys and gals that I don't think they understand or plan on the work that's going to come in to accomplish that dream. Because I think that there's a spirit goal, okay, and then there's a dream. And I think there's a difference between it, because I think that you can work hard and accomplish a dream, but I think a spirit goal is just something that you wish for, you want. So,
boy, I like that, and it's so true. So with that, we'll take and we'll start on the end and go the other way this time. Is that sometimes, and I hope there's people that relate to this, is that when I sold my first business, it wasn't a business. I was a young kid, and I hate to say it looking back on it, I worked hard, and there's people that just wanted my services. But for a great part, I was a cute kid that people wanted to help out. And I hadn't developed a business. I developed a reputation and some fans. And I lucked out. As I got older and I started developing true businesses, is that I over-projected myself on how much money and background I needed on it and how much education. And I tried to go from A to B and then B to F. I tried to skip over some areas. And in that, what I did is I caused myself some financial hardships. Now, the one thing I didn't do was cause myself so much hardship that I failed. But I could have. If I didn't have the right mentors and coaches, I tried to succeed myself when I wasn't A, deserving of it, B, I didn't have enough education, and C, I didn't have enough finances. So let's add, sometimes thinking big happens too quickly. So as anybody, we'll start down, Clint, right with you and go. What would you add to that?
I definitely would agree. I think that sometimes you can just dream too big. And it kind of goes on what I said before is, you have to have some kind of a plan, and you have to be prepared that work's going to come with it. I don't know if I would call myself a dreamer, but I always had goals, and I always wanted to get to that next level. When I got to the next job, I saw who I was reporting to, and that's the job I wanted. But I always tried to keep in my mind that I wasn't just going to get it. I remember going when I was just a kid. I went and sat down with somebody, and I said, I've been here for a year. I was wondering about a raise. And he looked at me and he said, you tell me why I should give you a raise, because you've been here for a year. So it's those small life lessons that you learn that, things don't just come and lay in your lap. You have to work for them. If you want them, go get them. But there's going to be some work that comes with it.
I like it. Jody, we'll go straight to you now.
I think, there's so many challenges in dreaming big, right? We're always told, dream big, and you can accomplish anything if it's in your mindset. The problem is a lot of times we're not willing to make the sacrifices to become what we need to become. And so we have this vision of where we're going, and we skip steps, like you said.
Yep.
And what happens when you skip steps, you inevitably have to come back and visit the steps that you missed because they are the foundational elements that enable you to catapult forward.
I like that. Well, the other thing is, it's okay to skip steps, but be prepared and have the financial backing. And then you're going to get skinned up, happen to go back a little bit. And hopefully you don't burn your bridges, you don't burn your cash flow, you don't burn yourself out. It's okay to jump. It's okay to think big. And you don't have to follow. There isn't okay, this has to be step one. This has got to be step two. My journey, I don't want somebody to wait until they're 55 years old, my age, to get where I'm at. I want them to do it at 40. But you've got to take and follow the steps that other people are laying out to get there. Because I had to back up on a lot of mine.
Well, and I think a lot of times the challenge is we're moving so fast.
Yeah.
That we need to slow down.
I love it.
Faster.
I love it.
I mean,
love it.
I did 2021. I kept telling Rod, we got to slow down. We need to address these components in our business. And yes, it's going to, from the outside, it may seem like we're slowing down, but it's going to be the thing that allows us to speed up.
I like
in a way
it.
that we never could have.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast type of thing. So, Markus?
I tend to agree a lot. Jody, I read your book.
Okay.
Yeah, no, good. Not trying to promote your book here, but what you just alluded to and the valley thing and the steps, you have to do those steps. What I'm seeing is guys don't realize that those steps don't have to be in that order, but you will have to revisit those steps.
Absolutely.
It's going to come back. And in my previous life, I always had a lieutenant or a sergeant major or somebody that defined those steps for me. When I came into the civilian sector, it took me 8 years of stubbornness because I was a decorated, badass jarhead, and I could do anything. And I came out and I said, well, I can do all that. Well, that was fine. But when I skipped a step, there wasn't anybody there to say, hey, you got to go back and revisit. So it took me about 8 years to bump into the right people that said, hey, you've got all the talent in the world. Just shut up and allow us to. You were a staff NCO, so that's what you're going to be for now. Until you learn that these steps are here. You have to hit all those. You have to dot all the I's.
So you finally went and talked to a chief warrant officer, and they set you straight.
Absolutely.
There you
But
go.
yeah, it's there's no secret formula other than a lotto ticket to success. You will hit all the steps. You will.
Now, that doesn't mean it's going to take you 30 years.
No, not at all.
And there's a lot of people in this industry that's going to help you get there a hell of a lot faster than what they did it. And people like Meghan, I'm looking at her because I've got all the respect, all of you guys. But Meghan, hey, she's cuter than you guys. But because we've had these deep discussions in the last couple of weeks about her pushing people forward. And so, the people are out there. Don't be ignorant to come in to these events. Look at this. Some of my best friends, all of us, basically through this event, we've become close. This is the launching pad. SEMA's awesome, but this event it's our people.
Right.
And so, Meghan, add to that a little bit if you would.
You know what? One thing I was thinking of, so as a company, we start every year out with, everybody says dreams. Ours is our goals and initiatives for the year. We start out right in January, and we sit with all the staff and we ask everybody to add something, a thought, something new you want to do. Where do you see the company going? Right down to the guys on the phone. Everybody's thoughts are included. And we come up with a plan with that. Because to me, dreaming's nothing unless you've got a plan. And
Amen.
if you know me, there's an Excel sheet involved and there's timelines.
I love it. I love
and
it.
it's who's assigned to it. And so we go through and we hold everybody accountable for their own dream.
That's priceless.
Get that dream. And if you want to see that dream happen, I want to make it happen for you, but I want you to have a little skin in the game.
We got to I want to bring you back on and talk just about, I have never looked at it. I've heard this before, but we hold you accountable for your own dream.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, if that doesn't make empires.
Well, you know what? I can help you. I can throw everything at it. But if you don't believe in that dream enough to take the drive there,
that's powerful.
then I'm just pushing an empty wagon around. So, it's like I've had these conversations with you. Show me some people in this industry that just need a little extra push, that they're hungry.
Absolutely.
They want to go the full yard and they're willing to work for it. But everybody can have a dream, but some of us need somebody to get there.
Well, and I like that point that you said, because you think about football. You can. Oh, sorry. You think about football, right? You can be fourth in inches, and the inches is the toughest part of the 10 yards.
Oh man!
Yep.
Right.
Amen.
And if you have a coach, you have a mentor, you have somebody that can see from an outside perspective of what you're missing, that can push you so that you're then positioned for that next 10 yards.
Right.
And it might not be you. It might be a team member that's going to get you those 3 inches.
Exactly.
And it might be somebody off the bench that's third string that's their specialty.
That's why you have a team.
100%.
Absolutely. And it's an amazing point is that, going back to military. Military is a great organization. Here's why. All of us as entrepreneurs, we can recruit people. Military gets what it gets, especially among the enlisted. They do. And they've got to churn people into pros. And if you think about that, and, I've had some great commanders and not so great commanders, but the great commanders, they all have one thing in common, is they're people person, and they're pushing their people ahead. And so there's, I think, another thing I've got underneath my notes is that if you want to take and get ahead, President Obama said this one day, and I was never so mad at him in my life. You didn't build that. And I remember I was in my truck when he said that. And I said, I said to myself out loud, what do you mean I didn't build that? Nobody helped. Yeah, you had help. No, I did not. I'm screaming back at the radio when he said that. What the hell are you talking? You don't know my business. I got home and I said, okay, I got to look at it on TV. I only heard it. He wasn't saying that at all. What he was saying is, you didn't build that by yourself. Right. Every one of us, he goes, I didn't get into this presidential office by myself. I had so many people lifting me up and helping me. I didn't become president of the United States by myself. And you know what? I said, oops, sorry, because he is 100% right. I have never done anything on my own. Now, I put the seat time in. I put the long hours in. But you know what? Even other people, my wife paid for it. My kids paid for it. My community paid for it. My dogs paid for it. I mean, everything around me paid a price for my own doings. And sometimes the price is pretty heavy. You got to be careful. So this is great input. Now let's go over this thing too. So when big thinking goes bad, is being unprepared. You've got to be prepared. When big thinking goes bad, of not having enough funding for that big thinking. Now, don't let that scare you though. There's a will, there's a way, but don't over expect it. Be willing to go back and get a part-time gig maybe. This might be your side hustle for a little while if you're thinking big. For 3 years, I had a side hustle. I was detailing full-time and had a side hustle to make sure I could do that. I could gain momentum and ground. Don't overgrow your knowledge base. Always. Now, what you can do is if you don't know it, go find somebody that does and pick their brain and have a great mentor. That's going to cut years off it, and it's going to teach you at the same time. And then always think about this, not too much, not so quick. Because that was my personal notes. So you guys got anything to add to that? When big thinking is just a little too early, would any of you add something to that for the listeners to kind of think about?
I think the good theory on that is slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
And I think if you're a smaller business, you can take those bigger chances because the repercussion's smaller.
Absolutely.
When you get to be in a bigger business, I find you can think big, but you got to take small steps because you're dragging 50 employees behind you. They're counting on you. So
absolutely.
If you're an entrepreneur and you're on your own, there's a little different mindset. It's your house, it's your finances. But when you have a large company, you've got 50 mortgages that it's not you anymore. So I've always loved slow and steady.
I like that.
You can have a big idea, but just chip at it slow and steady. So if it doesn't work out or you get to a point, like you say, sometimes it is finances. Okay, we're at a point where this, but if you do it slow and steady, it's safe. And safe isn't always good in business, but if you get too big, you got to go safe.
I think of a similar, every year I do this, is I look at now, especially tied in with P&S, Double Black, with the Detail Mafia, is I do a count. How many people are counting on me doing the right thing? And last year, on January 1st, it was about 325. This year, it's about 700. If I really screw up,
it's not you.
It's not me. And if I really screw up and do something stupid or say something stupid, we all seen the reality TV shows, and these guys got it made. They're making millions of dollars, and then they go out and they make a political statement, and they get canceled. And it's or an athlete. And we're seeing that right now in the NFL. It's like, are you crazy? You got to know where your bread's buttered, and don't be big britches, don't be big britches. So let's move on. This is a cool one. And we're going to start in the middle now.
I have a thing to add to that.
Okay.
That's sorry. I got to make sure I'm talking in his mic.
You can take it out. Take it out.
Yeah,
and just travel with it. It's easier.
So,
you're like me. You're
better. Yeah, I got to move.
Your head's all over the place.
So I think one of the things too, in small, medium, and big size businesses, right? A lot of times you hit a wall that is so big And I'm reminded, I was on a 50-mile hike with these kids up in
A
the
50-mile hike?
50-mile hike with,
Okay, like-
with 6 kids. And we had backpacks.
Over how many days?
Over 5 days.
Oh, that's a good hike.
So
That's
good
cool.
hike. We were doing 11 to 13 a day.
I thought you were going to say, no, we're on a 50-mile hike in one day. I was like,
no, I actually did that. That's a different story. So I actually ran an ultra marathon, 52 miles.
there's something wrong with you. I thought the Marine was crazy. No, you're nuts. Marines don't do that.
But we were on this trip, and we came down this stretch of this mountain. We came down, and we hit this huge wall of snow. I mean, it was blocking the trail.
Wow.
And I think a lot of times in business, we hit that huge wall of snow, and we're sitting there going, well, that's what I planned to do. And we literally had to go back up the hill and look at the entire terrain and figure out a way to go through it, over it, around it. And sometimes in business, you hit a wall and you have to figure out a way to go through it, over it, around it, and it's not what you planned. And you have to be willing to accept that derailment, but you're still on the same journey. A lot of times we get detoured and we think that we're failure. And I think sometimes we don't look at failure and dissect what just happened. And when we dissect that failure, quote failure, it gives us a blueprint to move forward to success.
I love it. Mission planning, military search and rescue, same way. I'll tell you kind of a morbid story is that we had a individual that we went up, we found, and unfortunately they're in really bad shape. We're bringing them down from the mountain, and unfortunately we lost them. And where we were heading down was to expedite to get them down to save their lives. But we all also agreed that there's a pretty good chance that we could get hurt, really hurt or killed along the way. So we had to make a decision: is we could lower the body down at this point, and we didn't have enough rope to get the body all the way down, and then get it down and do as little damage as we could and cut the lines. Or we could humbly take the body down with us and possibly hurt or kill one of us. That's a real decision. The shit we deal in business every day, these warriors, these police officers, these firefighters, the military, they're making life and death decisions every day. Thank God, as business owners, most of us aren't doing that. But it could be life or death to your business if you make the wrong move.
Yes.
And that's what I hear you saying, because you could go over that snowbank safely, you can find another route, or you could just cancel your trip, and as long as you do it safely. Megan, you said the same thing, is that when you take those bigger risks, a bigger company, is you got so many people lined up. Well, even if you're a 1 or 2 person shop, your family's going to be affected. That one other employee is going to be affected. The people that sell your product is going to be affected. We want you successful in business. It's important that you stay successful in business. And so anything else to add to that? Any little tidbits that we can put to that?
Well,
this is exciting. So, hey, let's talk about this. We're going to take, Markus, we're going to come in with you on this. Financial small thinking. Man, something that I started out really powerful on, and I kind of screwed up in my 30s. Mm-hmm. I got so into just kind of counting my bank account for health, and I was so busy providing for 4 little mouths, and I was so busy, with my wonderful, beautiful partner and wife of just making sure she could take care of the kids, that I completely lost track of my true financial health. And so real estate's been a big thing: investing, retirement, pre-tax dollar investments, pre-tax dollar health accounts, all these different things. So Markus, let's talk about some financial small thinking and how, yes, even a blue collar detailer can become a blue collar millionaire.
To bounce right off of Meghan and Jody, the snow story hits really hard, and it's very emotional for me. I was doing so well when I got out of service. My business was growing. My job I created for myself was growing.
There you go.
It wasn't a business because I didn't know how to maintain it. I was making gobs of money, buying every shiny thing you could imagine, fine home. I had the car, the RV, the 2 boats, the all the toys, all the bells and whistles. My kids they were getting everything but me. I was hustling.
Oh, yeah.
Because I didn't know how to, when I got to the snowbank, I didn't know that, wait a minute, stop. You had a road map to start with. You had a topographical map. You should have looked at it. You should have looked at the terrain before you got there. I was so busy loading my coffers that I hit the snowbank head on. And it was catastrophic. I lost everything, and didn't know why, and had to look around and beg for help. And there wasn't any because everybody was waiting on me to fail. So the next time I put my bootstraps back on, my wife didn't at that point leave me. That was later. They don't leave. I run them off. Just being honest.
It's a special skill you have.
Well, Diane does too, but I got her roped in pretty tight, so she doesn't get very far. It's like a rubber band.
There you go. But I learned real quick, hey, I need to be able to provide for my family, have a safety net, and have a mentor. So I went and found a mentor. I got 2 jobs. Kept my creative job because I wasn't an entrepreneur. I had no idea how to be an entrepreneur, and I was too proud to admit that.
Absolutely. A lot of us are.
So when I finally realized that, hey, maybe you should deliver pizzas, drive a truck at night, stock warehouses, whatever days they would let me do that. And then the daytime I'd have to be freshly showered and standing in front of the detail shop and making that work. So it was just realizing where I was at, realizing my capabilities, accepting, I'm a Marine. You telling me I can't do that? Well, of course I could do it, but I needed people like you that are at this table to guide me along the way. And I was too initially to admit that, hey, I need some advice.
That's huge, and for men especially.
Yeah.
For men, I don't know why. Maybe I'm doing too hard on us. Women do the same thing, or
I think women are the same.
do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
I like to figure it out myself before asking.
Okay, well, you guys are the same then. I guess my daughters are too.
I'm
Diana's
literally
too.
going way down before I'm asking.
I love it.
I'm like, all right, I got myself here. I'm getting myself out.
So, Clint, we're going to go down to you. Let's talk about that as that financial small thinking.
I've been cleaning cars for a long time, and I've watched the amount of dollars that a guy or a gal can generate through their detail shop just astronomically increase, big time. And what I'm noticing is that I think a lot of the detail shop owners that I'm talking to are not utilizing that extra revenue to put back into their business, or at least to think about the future. I see, it's not like I go into a lot of people's finances, but I see shiny toys and places are going, and I'm thinking and asking questions like, are you thinking of the future? Are you thinking of your business?
That's huge.
What are you going to do? One thing that I knew when I was young is that I didn't want to do this forever. And I tell guys and gals that a lot. That's what you need to think about. Do you want to be using that polisher when you're 50?
Yeah.
If not, then you have to utilize those finances to make a plan.
And 50 is going to hit you before you know it, by the way.
I'm already 50.
Yeah. I'm already 100. Jody, let's roll right into that with you, and then we'll end with Meghan on that part too.
I think a lot of times it's the little disciplines that make the difference. And I'll give you a perfect example. We just rolled out in 2021, we rolled out a 401k to our employees. First time. It was one of our goals to do, right? And so we were able, and we set up, reciprocal payment and all this stuff. And one of the guys wasn't going to do it. I'm like, dude, you need to do it. I'm telling you. And he goes, no, I'm not so sure. And so I let him have that space. And then he went away. And so I set aside my money for the 401k. It's all pre-tax. And then I got my next paycheck and actually had $4 more. And I said, look at the benefit of pre-tax savings. You need to take advantage of that. And a lot of times it seems so insignificant. But what I found is that the insignificance build upon each other to create true wealth.
Absolutely.
Both on an emotional, physical, spiritual, financial in if you're willing to pay the small price.
Well, when you get financially healthy, no matter what that health means, you're so much more creative and able to go out and succeed. It could be you're successfully healthy and only making 25 grand a year,
It's more fun.
but
too.
you're healthy and you're stressless, or you can be making $275,000 a year. But your financial health is going to help create so many open pathways in your brain and in your heart and your soul and everything else. It's cool. Now, Meghan, we had this talk, part-time. we both have an addiction to real estate,
Yes.
and so kind of going to, it's kind of a side gig, right? Right. So let's talk about what even something like that smartly can do.
Yeah, I shared with you, if I was not in this business, I would be in real estate for sure. It is everybody asks what your hobbies are, and I embarrassingly will say real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've looked probably 3 times today because I'm looking for another piece of property in town. I have like 30 different alerts set up with my realtor based off of what it is. Does it need work? I love to take property, make it pretty, and flip it, and see with just a little bit of hard work that the money that you can do, and then take that and put it away so I can retire before I'm 90. So that's just something I've always enjoyed. Real estate to me is fun. The market is something you ride like a roller coaster. Right now we're at the high, and I told you I've sold 2 houses and built one in the past 12 months. It's the time,
incredible.
but in 2 years that I'll find something else to do for fun. But right now is the time. And you know what? No matter what business you're in, where we all sit, I've been with the company 20 years. I like diversify. I like money. We're all, probably salary. You make the same. But if you want to have a little extra, I have dreams. I would like to go to Ireland sometime soon before I'm too old and I can't walk around. So you like to make a little extra money, but I like to make money doing things that are fun. And right now for me, and probably for the past 8 years, has been real estate.
No, mine too, really, for about 10 years. And I'm addicted to the apps.
Yes.
I've got all 3 of the most popular apps. I'm on every day, multiple times. I get all the alerts. And now I'm kind of sitting and proud, though. I'm almost like a tiger in waiting. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm starting to see some of the properties, the values, coming down,
It's getting under control now.
It is. And so I'm just waiting for and again, Mark, I talked about Mark Johnson earlier. He taught me an incredible thing at this show about 12 years ago is owner financing on land. And I'm telling you, the last several deals I've done has been underneath owner financing, and we've done really well with it. It's not the cheapest way to go, but it's off your credit. It's usually you get a fair deal and you get a fair interest rate, and it makes it real easy to buy land. And my first deal when I was 19, I still have, and I'm going to end up making about $500,000 on that deal when I sell it. And I've owned it for all these years, and I have no intention of selling it. I'm just waiting for the right time and for the right moment when I can take advantage of selling it and not pay capital gains.
Yep.
But you got to know the game, 1031, 1033s, all these different things. I'm a detail. How do I know that? I went and got my real estate license. Have I ever sold a house? Nothing other than my own.
I took the course myself.
Right, and it's really informative. The other thing is getting into investment. I got an app. I got an app called Acorns.
Yep.
One of my right.
Got to get Acorns.
Acorns is just, and now I'm addicted to that because I go in every week and I look at my Acorn. I'm like, oh my God, look! It's trickles of money going into an account. But all of a sudden, a year later, I got a nice little chunk of money sitting in there.
We call that slow and steady.
It's exact slow and steady.
and
It goes
steady.
back to. So let's go into one. This is going to be fun.
Before you do that,
okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
This
is it.
I think it's important because I think a lot of times we have these side hustles, right? And some business owners take side hustles that are risky.
Yeah.
That put everything on the line. And it's like that same 50-mile hike. I'm going as the dad, and we're 11 miles in on this first day. And all of a sudden, they're getting tired. It's getting dark, and we still have 3 miles to go to Buck Lake. And they're looking at the map, and they're like, well, let's just take this shortcut, and we'll go down to Pistol Creek, Indian Creek. And I'm like, okay, whatever, right? So I'm just trudging along, and as we're going through uncharted territory.
Mhm.
It's the terrain's getting steeper and steeper, and one of the leaders getting high altitude sickness, starting to hack up his lungs and stuff. And it's getting, I mean, we literally are like on the edge. And I think a lot of people ride their business on the edge, literally. And we got to the point, and I go, stop. Can I see that topo map? So I pulled out the topo map, and I go, did anybody look at this before making the decision to take a shortcut?
Because this is straight up and down.
Because we were heading straight for a cliff. And I think a lot of guys, they want to go so fast, they have these big dreams that they're shortcutting the process, slow and steady, right? And we were heading for real life change. I go, not only have we gone off plan, but nobody knows where we are. And if somebody gets injured or hurt or lost, they have no idea where to begin the search. So let's stop, take a breath, and recalculate.
I love it.
Sometimes you got to do that.
Well, I'll take it back to search and rescue in the military. Bear Giles came out, that survival guy, right? Mm-hmm. And what we started noticing is everybody's starting to be him. They're going down waterfalls, and we're getting called out with search and rescue, especially in those, everything you say right there. And we call it rescue by cell phone. And let me tell you, in business, the same way, is everybody wants to be rescued, right? Well, hey, when can you get out there? Well, let's see. You just had cloud coverage come in with 50-mile-an-hour winds, helicopters out, and it took you, 2.5 days to hike back there? So our team will see you in 2.5 days because we can't get back there. Who's going to rescue in business? Your bank ain't going to do it. They're most likely aren't going to do it. Your friends and family will bail you out, but how many times are they going to do that maybe? And for a lot of us, we don't have that safety net. It's not there. So this is a fun question. And this is something I see as both a real positive to the industry, and then I'm gonna share how it's kind of a negative. All of us see the people coming up and saying, hey man, can you sponsor me? I want to be sponsored. Hey, I want to be your spokesperson. Hey, I want to be famous. Hey, put me on TV, Here's the people that get those opportunities, the people that don't ask for them, that aren't looking for them, that have gone out and built such a wonderful reputation in business, and they're humble, and they have no idea that you're coming. We just had that situation recently, and she was blown away. Yes. And so, there's people in this industry that are so ripe for the next level, and they don't know it, whether that's just exploding your business. And, car washes right now, a lot of the car wash owners are older. There's a lot of opportunity for car washes. There's a lot of opportunity in other service businesses. You can launch stuff that's connected or not connected to detailing. And you see these wonderful people walking around, and I just want to grab them and shake them and spend a half an hour and tell them, go for it. You're ready. You're ready. And so what do you guys add to that? I mean, other opportunities you've heard about being careful, not risking it all. So Clint, we're going to start with you at this time again. So, people, when do you kind of know you're ready for the next level? And what's your advice?
I don't know. I'm sure every situation is going to be different, whether you know or not. But I think Markus said something that sparks is having a mentor. Having somebody that can help you and guide you, and that's not always a parent. Meaning like somebody that can help you with the business. And I've had tons of guys or gals that I'll go out and see in shops. And if they have a question that I can't answer about their operations, well, then I'm going to hook them up with somebody that is successful.
There you go.
Somebody that can help them with their business operations. So I guess back to saying, have a mentor, have somebody that can help you, have somebody that can give you the guidance that you may need when you need it or when you don't know if you need it.
Well, and off that, you go, Meghan is Auto Geek so, and especially right now, they are on fire. Not bragging about you guys. IGL, on fire. With what you shared with me, what you guys are doing, on fire. You guys have linked up with Justin also. There's a interlink between the two of you. On fire, smart right? People. And the key to that is it's knowledge and knowledge sharing. Mm-hmm. Here's some leading companies. That's what we do, nonstop. If your company that you're supporting by buying their products isn't offering you that opportunity to learn from them, you need a new supplier.
100%.
Because let me tell you, there's too much good information and too many smart people that are willing to help you. If you're not getting that help you need from the people that are close to you, find a new source. So we'll go right down the line. So you're next on that.
I had a really good conversation with DJ Patterson yesterday, and he said one of the biggest challenges he had recently was knowing when to let go of an aspect of his business. And in his heart, in his gut, he knew he needed to make a change. And he goes, I finally made the change, and it exploded my business. And I think a lot of times we have that inner gut that is telling us to do something, and we're afraid to take it because we're either comfortable or it's a big stretch for us.
Scared.
I think we talked about getting uncomfortable. I put myself still to this day. I go out on these adventurous hikes, and I could kind of not seriously on the edge, but kind of intentionally put myself. I sleep out on the ground. I hike up the mountain. I'm not comfortable. I'm a lot hungry, and because when I come home, that bed feels good, and then the things I face in business are pretty simple. So Markus will go down.
I think all of you are absolutely correct, and I've learned from everybody at this table, by the way, since I've been involved with, IGL, and I get asked a lot in my trainings. And one thing I find, and I think you and I have talked about this some, is people number one, they don't understand where they're at. Okay, so you got to occupy your space. This is where I'm at. There's no shame being wherever it is you're at.
Absolutely,
okay?
Agree.
And then the crazy thing, and one thing that Meghan said I love is accountability. So we got those two things. All right, let's get them out there, and that's exciting. But the next thing that I've been driving home and getting some pushback, hard pushback, was I've been enforcing the consequences of that accountability statement.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where we're at. You agreed that you're here. We brought you to this level. We've helped you here. This is where you're at. Own this position now. And if you don't, and you're veering, we're going to, just like your pony, we're going to rear back on that bridle. First one to admit, I fight the bit.
Oh, yeah.
I used to a lot. I'm older and a lot calmer. But, and I'll be honest with you. I told somebody yesterday, they asked me if you could pick one person in the building, and I followed about everybody in the building. If you pick one person in the building, you follow for 3 months to pick their brain, follow what they're doing. And I pointed right over at Meghan.
Yeah.
I said, I would follow you. I did. And I meant that because I followed you. I've read your book. I've noticed your stuff. I always looked at you guys, with your pads and all that. And a lot of other people in this building, Mike and everybody, Justin. But it's that the business end and knowing that somebody's going to rattle my chain hard, not walk away from it. You wouldn't walk away. You'd rattle my chain and say, hey, get your butt back in line instead of saying, I'm going on to the next guy. I'm not saying that you would.
No, here's the only time I'm going to walk away from you is if you ask me for advice and I give it to you and you go your own direction and screw things up, you're on your own fixing it.
There you go.
And I've told my kids that. I tell my business kids that. I tell myself that, and I screw a lot of things up. Meghan, let's see. We're going to end this with you, and then we're going to go back down. I got one question for you guys. That would be quick.
Okay. And I appreciate that, Markus. I would drive you crazy if you followed me.
You'd be worn out after 2 minutes, man.
They're little legs, but they move quick.
Yeah.
Just to go back, you were saying like when people know when they're ready. I think me and you witnessed something this morning about. I feel like when we feel somebody's ready, they have no idea. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it when you can go up and you can let them know they're ready because they finally see it. I find the people that come to us and they're like, I'm ready. I'm like, oh, no, you're probably not.
Right.
Because if you're too overly, cocky about your situation or where you're at in this industry, you probably haven't respected the drive and the walk up to get there. And so, you saw what happened this morning like that. Those are the things I like to see. I like to walk up to somebody that they feel like nobody's rooting for them.
Nobody's got eyes on them.
And then you walk right up like you're their little cheerleader and they're like, oh, wait a minute. I think I'm going to make it to the next level. So I like that.
I do too. You bring up a point. That was a weird noise. What the hell was that? So here's a great point is that some of you are 20-year veterans conducting business like you're a rookie. And some of you, I'm going to wait. This is the wake-up call. There's some rookies conducting business like they're a 20-year veteran. Those are the ones to watch for. Because if you're old-fashioned and you don't think you need to be at events that we're at right now, watch out for the new wave that's coming through.
Right.
Because they're educated, they're smart, they're hungry, and they're going to do it with brains versus bronze. And I'll take the brains versus bronze every day if it was a horse. So, hey, let's have a little fun now. We'll take and start. Clint, we're going to start with you. A little shameless plug of your company, and then where they follow you on social media, and then how they contact you directly, and we'll go right down the line from there. So just go ahead and talk about Buff and Shine, and tell us how to follow you on social media,
Gotcha.
and then also how to get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you direct.
Gotcha. We're at buffandshine.com. Our handles are Buff and Shine for Instagram and for Facebook. And I can be reached on my email. It's chintz@buffandshine.com. And I'd be happy to for anybody to stop by the booth 807, answer any questions you have on buffing pads. And Renny, thank you for having me on. Thanks for you guys. I learned a lot.
Did you just lose power?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Okay, so I just got one. I'll share it with Jody. I don't know. I just went dead all of a sudden. So, hey, no, you're up next. I don't need to say anything.
So my name's Jody Sedrick. I own a company called RotaFest. It's a mobile invoicing system to help any detailing auto recon business. And I tell you, our goal is to impact your business, whether it's on a professional level or business level. And so at RotaFest, I'm at Jody Sedrick on Instagram.
And you got to plug your book.
And yeah, so I host a podcast. I'm very driven to help men become better fathers and husbands. So I have a podcast called Father's Fire with the Y. And I have a book called Learn to Dance with the Currents of Life When You Feel Like You're Drowning. And I took 15 experiences of water, diving, surfing, and have tried to pull lessons about how you can dance with the currents to have a phenomenal experience.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Markus, you're up.
People can call me directly at 606-231-1404. They can catch me through email, mparsley@iglcoatingsusa.com. We do have a training center in Lexington, Kentucky that is actually taxiing down the runway and fixing to take off. So please, iglcoatingsusa.com. Contact us for availability. Joel LaPalm is going to put some stuff out. We should have, by the time he gets on the airplane to head back to Canada Monday, we should have some dates and times out there for folks.
There you go. All right.
All right, I'll close it up for you. It's Meghan Poirier with Auto Geek. Best way to find me is everybody gets on Facebook and sends me messages. I have no problem giving out my cell if you reached out to me. Every customer, doesn't bother me. Give me a holler.
There you go. Right on. Well, hey, thanks, everybody. And again, if you haven't gone to this show, boy, do they need to get here or what? I mean, SEMA is cool. SEMA is cool. This is so much more hands-on with everybody. You can go up and talk to people, have a great time. But all of you, thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate your input. And again, this is the Renny Doyle podcast. Thanks for coming in. Mobile Tech 2022. We'll see you next year. Take care, guys.